Greetings. I am Lark. Logistics, analysis, respondent, computer. What do you need today? Information request detected. Potential weaponry, for use aboard the USG Ishimura. Request acknowledged. Request set, and information allocating now. Information compilation complete, beginning overview of known items for use as weapons, aboard the USG Ishimura. 211V, Plasma Cutter. CEC standard issue tool to miners and engineers. Utilized in cutting mineral ore, from small chunks of rock, it can also function as a weapon in the right circumstance. Through upgrading its components, it can be converted into a high-powered, semi-automatic plasma pistol. It fires a small vertical, or horizontal beam of plasma energy that will cut through rock and limbs alike, like a hot knife through butter. The plasma cutter functions very well, as either a secondary or primary weapon, and is among the most well-balanced in the arsenal. Its only drawback is facing against multiple targets. But if you have the skill, you should be able to hold your own even using this weapon by itself. Ammunition for the plasma cutter is easy to find, and the user can hold up to 25 rounds per item slot. The 211V plasma cutter is an energy pistol that you can always count on to be reliable and accurate. 1M822, handheld ore cutter, line gun. A heavy ore cutter, designed to slice through large chunks of rock, to enable miners with plasma cutters to work on smaller portions. The line gun is a powerful cutting tool. Like its smaller cousin, the plasma cutter, the line gun can be converted into a high-powered, offensive weapon with an emphasis on crowd control. Utilizing its powerful horizontal energy beam, it can slice through multiple opponents, and also features the ability to lay timed explosives to blast through rock, or in this case, enemies. However, there is a price to be paid with such power. The weight of the line racks for the line gun are immense, meaning that a user can only hold up to 6 per item slot. The line gun's primary fires a moving energy projectile that must be led to hit long-distance targets. Also, the timed explosives will only go off after 8 seconds, meaning that you must hold the enemies in place using stasis or other means to keep them within the blast radius. Despite its drawbacks, the line gun plays its part in keeping multiple enemies at bay, to allow you to deal with individual threats. When using this weapon, be sure to keep another weapon handy that will cover for its weaknesses. SWS Motorized Pulse Rifle. Standard issue to military and security personnel aboard USG and USM vessels. The SWS Motorized Pulse Rifle is a multi-rolled rifle. Utilizing the accuracy of a rifle, with the high magazine capacity of a light machine gun, the pulse rifle uses powerful energy pulses to fire its ammunition. This allows the pulse rifle to function, even in a vacuum. Ammunition for the pulse rifle is plentiful, and the user can hold up to 100 rounds per item slot. However, the gun is always set to full automatic fire, and even a light squeeze of the trigger fires a 2-round burst. While it may not be much of a rifle, due to the recoil from its full automatic fire impacting accuracy, it can suppress multiple targets, through both its primary and secondary functions. Upgrading the weapon improves upon the pulse rifle's firepower and capacity. This turns the pulse rifle into a light machine gun that is both reliable and dependable. The primary fires a stream of pulse rounds at the center dot of the crosshair, while the secondary fire turns the weapon into a defensive turret that will spin above the user to suppress the area around the wielder at chest level. The secondary is more of a defensive function and is best suited to when you are surrounded. Bear in mind though, the secondary fire will not hit targets that are too low. In such a circumstance, the primary fire is best. Its main drawback is that it lacks the heavy punch of the other weapons, but this is not usually a problem when you consider its high magazine capacity and high firing rate. This weapon, like the plasma cutter, is still a cut above the rest. Balanced and with its ability to handle multiple opponents, makes the Pulse Rifle an excellent choice as either a primary or secondary weapon. PFM-100 Hydrogen Torch Flamethrower. A tool used for melting hardened ice off of comets, to allow cutting tools to extract the minerals. The PFM-100 Hydrogen Torch, or Flamethrower, is an industrial flamethrower that uses liquid hydrogen to produce an intense flame that is between 500 and 4000 degrees Celsius. As a weapon, it can be used to set enemies on fire, allowing a user to switch to another weapon to finish them off, or let the fire finish the job over time. Its primary fire sprays a jet of flame over a short distance that can wash over multiple targets. The secondary fire blasts fuel from the weapon to create a fireball that will engulf targets at range or in close quarters. The secondary fire can even be utilized to create a small wall of flame to burn enemies who step into it. However, it has weak damage and needs a large fuel supply to inflict massive damage to multiple foes. Luckily, fuel for the flamethrower is cheap and easy to get, with a user being able to carry 150 fuel per item slot. Through upgrades, its effectiveness and fuel storage can be improved. The flamethrower's biggest drawback is the lack of range. Even with the flamethrower's secondary fire, the flamethrower's fireball will break up over long distances. With its usefulness very low at range, the flamethrower is best used as a secondary weapon, and is most effective at close range. Also, the weapon will not function while you are in a vacuum or if there is no oxygen. Even with these drawbacks, if you are a pyromaniac at heart, you will find a place for this weapon in your arsenal. Just be sure you have a good primary weapon to cover for its lack of range. This video will be continued on part 2. Please check the video replies below to continue the list query.